That was a snippet of Prelude in C major. Most of you probably recognize it because it's a very popular piece. If you play piano, you might even be able to tell me which notes I played. But what if I asked you the question, how did the song smell? Was it pleasant or unpleasant? Did the notes taste sweet or more bitter? What color would you say the scale was? Most of you probably can't answer those questions, but if you can, you might experience something called synesthesia.
The word synesthesia comes from the Greek root syn, meaning together, and aesthesis, which means sensation. So synesthesia basically means joint senses, which adds up because people who experience synesthesia, or synesthetes, experience two senses simultaneously. This phenomenon has to do with the brain, specifically the different lobes, and how different senses are processed in different regions of the brain, like how the occipital lobe deals with processing vision, while the temporal lobe deals with processing sounds. Normally, activity in one sensory area doesn't automatically trigger another, but in synesthetes, these sensory regions are believed to be linked through a process called cross-activation. Imagine these dots represent your neurons. When you're young, you have a large number of neural connections, but as you grow older, some of these connections are reduced through a process called synaptic pruning. Researchers believe that in people with synesthesia, this pruning may not occur as much, so they retain more of the neural connections they had when they were younger. Because of these extra connections, the activation of one sense can trigger the activation of another. So when a synesthete does something that requires one sense, like listening to music, they might experience the notes as different colors, they might associate different songs with different tastes, or even with different smells. In 1812, German physician George Tobias Ludwig Sachs gave the first motocunca of synesthesia. In his dissertation, A Natural History of Two Albinos, the author and his sister, Sachs occasionally described detailed personal accounts of synesthesia. He described constantly associating specific colors with different letters, numbers, days of the week, time periods, and even different musical notes. Although Sachs' work was relatively unknown at the time, it has since made important contributions to neurological research. Today, his observations continue to influence how scientists study perception, and has caused many researchers to ask the question, what can synesthesia teach us about the brain? I find synesthesia fascinating because it really goes on to show how flexible and connected the brain really is. It also challenges the idea that our view of the world is subjective. It shows that our brains not only take in reality, but also actively shape it, a reality that's different for everyone.